Each NRL team has now played their 24 games, and it's time for the finals to see who will get to the grand final and lift the Provan Summons trophy. But first, as always, we've got to see how we did in the last round, round 27. So let's kick it off. Broncos versus Storm, and the majority of people got this bang on. However, Storm, they created a bit of a storm because they won by 38 points. I did them to win by 10, so I only get the result there. One person got a close score, so well done to you. One person did 41, I think. So well done, 1 point for me for that game. Next, on Friday the 6th, it was West Tigers versus Eels, and this was a fairly even split here, 52 to 48, and I got it right again. I was not expecting such big scores in this final week, but we got one because 26-60. Wow, wow, wow. The Eels doesn't really do much for either team, to be fair. They were finishing in the bottom three all day long. But a huge win. No one get close, but I do get the 1 point. Incredible 34-point win for them. Then Rabbitohs and Roosters. I think this was another one that was pretty much a formality. It was just trying to get a close or correct score. Rabbitohs did get a high enough score that could win other games, so you can't fault them for that. But Roosters just cementing their place in the top 8 and certainly the top 4. They won by 8 and I did them to win by 14, so I'm 1 point off that close score. Annoying, but 1 point for a win again. Then Saturday the 7th, it was Dragons versus Raiders. Both these teams had the outside chance of making the top 8, but neither of them have made it because Raiders won by 2 points. That gives me a 1.5 point because I did them to win by 4. So I'll take that, but neither team just missing out. The Raiders, amazingly, but they don't really deserve to be there. So I'll take that result. It did go downhill a little bit because I predicted a Bulldog win against the Cowboys. Both teams very, very similar. They've now finished 5th and 6th, so there wasn't a lot to play for in this game, and Bulldogs clearly decided not to try very hard because they lost by 38. Wow. And Cowboys getting the momentum going into the finals. So I get absolutely nothing for that. Oh, that's disappointing. But never mind, because the next game was Panthers versus Titans. I thought the Panthers probably would have won by a few more points, but their position was pretty much settled. But they have now bought themselves a home game against Roosters for the first round of the finals. I get 1 point for the win. Good. Next, it didn't go so well because Sea Eagles versus Sharks. I just fancied the Sea Eagles to do something here. But Sea Eagles are safe. They're in 7th place in the finals against a Sharks side who also hasn't changed position at all. They're still in 4th, but a very big win by the Sharks considering the opposition. I did Sea Eagles by 8. Sharks won by 20. So nothing on the board there. But the last game of the week was Knights versus Dolphins. This was the game. This was the game for 8th spot. And as you can see, Knights made that 8th spot because they managed to get a win. A tight, tense game, this one. And as I predicted, I did Knights to win by 6. And it was very, very tight, wasn't it? It was very, very tight. Obviously, Knights getting a conversion, a kick, just to get over that line. So Dolphins couldn't get a try to go for the golden try. But I'll take that. 1.5 points me. So let's see how we're doing in the league. So looking at the league table, the top 4 is exactly the same. There is absolute no movement. There is 162 Adelaide Bulldog. Brupel is 162. Dead on. Ajube is 158.41. Hacksaw 157.83. So there is less than 5 points between the top 4. And actually, even looking down, the top 10, if you get a good run, could potentially still get that top spot. But really, top 4 or 5, it is still in with a shout. So let's look at any other movement. Mad Swans fan is now in 8th. Aussie Tash down to 9th. Vam H is up to 10th, making the top 10. St. Jai has gone down too. The Golden Hat, though, has gone to New Elijah, gone up 6 places. Very, very good. That's a successful week. G Chapman up 2. AU Beach Bum down 2. So there's a little bit of movement. Otis down 7. Ouch. But there is some positive because I've made the top 20. Robreacts is up 3 places. Well deserved, if I don't say so myself. But up 3 places into the top 20. Let's see if there's any other big movement. Oh, there is another Golden Hat. Bailey is literally stayed in the same position, but has also got the Golden Hat. But Arlo White, I don't know, has got the wooden spoon. Only down 3 places, though. Let's see where everyone else has finished. Let's see. And that's last week's league table complete. So on to finals week 1. Now, very similar to the AFL, you have Panthers and Roosters and Storm and Sharks. They play their game. Whoever wins goes straight to the prelim final, and whoever loses then has another chance in the next round, week 2, against the winners of the other 2 games. So hopefully, as a Panthers fan, we will win the first game, but it's not easy. Friday the 13th, Bluebet Stadium, Penrith, home game, Panthers versus Roosters. Now, in my AFL, because I'm doing AFL along the same side, obviously their finals started last week. And I got 4 out of 4. And I'm going to do a similar system in head-to-head results. So I've written down what those head-to-head results is, and that is pretty much how I'm going to do it. And all of them have a winner. Not quite so clear-cut, but they do have a winner. So the first game, Panthers-Roosters, if you look at it, Panthers should technically win on paper, but Roosters have still been fantastic this season. They really, really have. They have been really consistent, and they certainly deserve a 3rd place. And, a couple of dodgy results that's similar to Panthers had. Sharks had a bigger, weirder results, to be fair. So I'm still amazed Sharks have managed to stay in 4th. But on paper, Panthers should win. And if you look at the head-to-head, in the last 5 games, Panthers have beaten Roosters on all 5 occasions. Now, are Panthers as strong this year as they were in the last 3 years, considering they are 3-time winners in a row? Possibly not. And I think Roosters are possibly more of a threat than they would have been in those previous years. However, Panthers, if we're going with head-to-head, Panthers for the win. But what will the score be? That is the question. So Panthers, let's do Panthers to win by 8. I can't see a massive margin here, especially with these top 4 teams. They're all, they're split by 6 points. And there isn't on paper a lot dividing them, even though Storm are at the moment the best team in the league, but on paper there's still not ridiculous amounts separating them. So Panthers by 8. Next, on Saturday the 14th at Ammy Park, Storm versus Sharks. Now this one's a little less clear cut. Sharks have been weird this season. They had a really massive blip, but they did finish the season pretty well. Storm, very consistent, only losing 5 games this year. That is fantastic. That's 3 better than anyone. No, 2 better than Panthers and 3 better than Roosters and Sharks. So they deserve to be top. They have been incredible. And you see from last week's scoreline, they are formidable. Now, Sharks, they, in the last 5 games, have won twice. And Storm, in the last 5 head-to-head games, have won 3 times. So, if we're going with that, which I am going to do because it was successful with AFL, Storm to win. Storm to win. This is the thing. Sharks did okay. They scored a decent amount. This is the tricky one. How will Storm do against a fairly good Sharks team? Do we reflect it on the 3-2? That's the question. And because it is a very, very tight split, that, isn't it? That is a very tight split. And if we're going by that, it could go either way. Oh, I want to do Storm by 8. Let's do Storm by 8 as well. It's tight, but makes sense. It makes sense. Okay. Next up, Queensland Country Bank Stadium in Townsville. Cowboys versus Knights. Now, Knights just squeezing in the last game of the league season. Incredible. I knew that was the game. It was very tight, very tentative, very cautious, but they did squeeze in 8th spot. And they're against the Cowboys team who, they've been pretty consistent. They deserve to be where they are as well. They haven't had any massive runs of really poor form. You know, there's been no points of the season where you think Cowboys aren't going to turn it round. Now, on head-to-head, Cowboys have won 3 games, Knights have won 1, and they have drawn 1 game as well. So, if we're going by that logic, then it should be a Cowboys win. And actually, on paper, the way that both teams have been playing, Cowboys have been very good. You know, I'm thoroughly impressed. They've been a team that has been good to watch as well. They've been fun to watch. So, we're going to go with the Cowboys here. We're going to go with the Cowboys by 18. Yeah, they're going with a decent win. 18 points win to Cowboys. The last game of the week then is at Stadium Australia on Sunday the 15th. And it is Bulldogs versus Sea Eagles. Now, this one is a... Bulldogs have been, on paper, the better team. They've both lost 10. Bulldogs have won 14. Seagulls have won 13. So there's still not a lot in it, but Bulldogs have been the more convincing team up until last week where they played Cowboys and lost. On head-to-head, Dogs are 1 and Sea Eagles are 4. So with the head-to-head side of things, it's Sea Eagles for the win. And I think that will be the first one I predict where the lower finishing team will actually win. And that's what I'm going to do. That is what I'm going to do. So Sea Eagles to win. Let's do them by 8. Let's do a close one, but they 1 try conversion and then a kick through the post as well to secure the victory to the next round. So my predictions for this week: Panthers versus Roosters, Panthers by 8. Storm versus Sharks, Storm by 8. Cowboys versus Knights, Cowboys by 18. That's the big win of the week, I reckon. And Bulldogs versus Sea Eagles, Eagles to win by 8. Games that could go either way. The system I'm doing is the last 5 head-to-head. And there are some clear winners, bar Storm Sharks, which I think could potentially cause an upset for Storm. It's going to be an interesting week. Let's hope my Panthers manage to get to the prelim finals by winning the first game. But thank you so much for watching throughout this season. There are still a couple more weeks to go. 3 more weeks to go after this. So thank you so much for joining me. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I will catch you next week.